It helps your clients to know that there is more stuff that they should be buying from you, and it helps you to identify opportunities to sell more stuff to your clients.
Paul Green's
MSP Marketing
Podcast.
Here's this week's
Clever idea.
There's another series that we're going to do over the next 3 weeks. I'm kind of making sure we've covered off all of the basics throughout January. So in the first part of the podcast, we're just, as we were there, talking about how to win new clients. In this clever idea part of the podcast, for the next 3 weeks, we're talking about upselling your existing clients. And again, there are 3 parts to it. Today, we're going to talk about the first part, which is called the profit matrix. Now, the profit matrix is, again, I've talked about it on the podcast before, but it's a basic you've got to get right. And if you're not doing this, please do it. Every MSP can and should do it. And it's powerful, and it really does make a difference. The only 3 ways to grow your business are to get more new clients, to get your clients to buy from you more often, and to get them to spend more every time they buy. That's it. Only those 3 ways to grow your business. The profit matrix takes care of the last 2 of those. It helps your clients to know that there is more stuff that they should be buying from you. Well, it's part of that process anyway. And it helps you to identify opportunities to sell more stuff to your clients. So let me tell you what the profit matrix is. It's very simply, it's a grid. I mean, literally a grid with lines down and lines across. And you write the names of your clients down one side, and you write the services you sell on the other axis. It doesn't really matter which way around they go. And you do this physically rather than on a screen, because the temptation is, I know what you MSPs are like, the temptation is to go and do it on a spreadsheet or to program something or automate it, or just do it on your screen. The problem with doing stuff on your screen is it is not as actionable as when you get something off the computer and do it in real life. The MSPs that I work with who get the most value out of the profit matrix have made it physical. It's a board on the wall or a flip chart, or even if they have done it digitally, they've displayed it on a massive 65-inch TV in their office. So, and even then, I think actually doing it physical is better. So literally get something physical. If you've got a spare whiteboard, you can start with this. Clients down one side, monthly recurring revenue services you sell on the other axis, and then you just put some dots in. So if you've got client 1 who buys service 1, you put a little dot where those 2 intersect. You've got client 1 buys service 2, a little dot there. Let's say that client number 1 doesn't buy service 3, but they do buy service 4. You get the idea, yeah? So we can now look at client 1 and we can see, interesting. This client buys service 1, service 2, and service 4. But they don't yet buy service 3, whatever that might be. You now know, and I know this information was sat in your PSA, but you now know with a glance, sitting on your desk with the phone to your ear, your feet up on the desk, you can look over at that physical chart and you know, just like that, with a glance, that you could potentially sell service number 3 to this client. And of course, it's not just that client, it's all of the clients are there on that list. Now, you've got to do something with that information, and we're going to talk about that next week. But the point is, you and your technicians and your colleagues, all of you can see what everyone is buying, but more importantly, what everyone is not buying. And it's the not buying gaps. It's almost like a game. You want a game of, can you fill in all of the dots? I know we're never going to fill all the dots in, but what a great game to be playing, right? Let's see if we can fill in the dots. Now, let me give you a pro tip on the profit matrix. And this was something an MSP suggested to me a couple of years ago, and it's genius. Rather than leaving gaps where you've got a client not buying something, you write in a figure. And the figure, do it in like a different color to the dots so it stands out still. But the figure is the value of the monthly recurring revenue to you. So if you were to sell client 1 that service number 3, which they are currently not buying from you, let's say that was worth $300 a month in monthly recurring revenue, then you'd write the figure 300 in there. And the idea behind that is that gives you even more motivation to go and sell that service to that client. Isn't that a genius idea? I absolutely love that idea. So action then, Get a whiteboard, get a flip chart, scribble on the wall with a Sharpie if you have to. Do yourself a profit grid, work in all of the clients down one side, all of the services on another, fill in those dots, and then obsess. I never really recommend you obsess over anything in business, but this is something to obsess over, is completing the grid and making sure more of your clients buy more monthly recurring revenue services. How do you do this? That's something we're going to cover off in next week's podcast.
Paul Green's
MSP Marketing
Podcast.